Hello everyone, this is Namaran, and today I will be talking to you about my new team that I use to complete the Bug-type Hard Mode Challenge. As a reminder, the Monotype Hard Mode Challenge is me trying to use all 18 types and following one of the criteria in a 1400 elo or above game. Must have a D rank or lower mod on my team, and the D rank mod must use something, or I will not have a single S rank mod on my team with the exception of Heat Train on Steel, or I can make a full stall team on a type that isn't known for it, like Poison or Water. Poison and Water being types that are known to be stally. So, in this iteration, I managed to create a bug team that did not have a single one of the S ranks mentioned. And somehow I managed to get quite a few wins on this. But as we look at the viability rankings here, we scroll to Bug, see that Cleavor, Caesar, and Volcarona are all the top mods here. And yet, what is missing from my team? Not a Cleavor, Caesar, or Volcarona in sight, as you can see here. So let's just get a little bit in detail with what this team is supposed to accomplish. So, Arachnid is actually the best web setter on Bug. I think in a previous video I said he wasn't, but he actually is. My apologies. But yes, Arachnid is the best web setter on Bug with the Infestation set and Mirror Code, allowing me to potentially trap an opposing lead and do some damage to it in the meantime. Also very good against walls that don't have recovery like Ting Lu. But yeah, nothing really unusual here. Just a standard heavy units, full defense, the usual. We have Fortress here with Stealth Rock, Rapid Spin, Gyro Ball, and Volt Switch. Volt Switch used for pivoting. We specifically only wanted to put Stealth Rocks on here because I didn't feel like putting additional spikes would be beneficial to my team, and I don't feel like I had the momentum to really keep that up. Or at least the team structure to pull it off. And we also have a Rocky Helmet with Sturdy. Rocky Helmet helping me with opposing rapid spinners like Great Tusk. But yeah, very simple, very self-explanatory. 252 HP in defense. Yeah, pretty standard Fortress set, nothing special here. Low kicks, not a bad mod on Bug. We didn't opt to use Swords Dance because I felt like, once again, I don't really have the resources to really afford to do that, especially on a mod like Low Kicks. So I ended up staying for a Life Orb set that did pretty decently, although I was asking for power a lot, and I did feel like I wish I had Swords Dance, but at the same time, I was still able to get all four of these moves, which is what I was really worried about. I wanted to make sure I had U-Turn because that was a hyper-offensive team, but I also wanted First Impression because it's just very, very strong on low kicks. I also wanted a consistent Dark Stab that wasn't Sucker Punch, so that way I can win the 50-50 against some mods. And yeah, that's pretty much it for low kicks. Just standard Life Orb Tinted Lens set. Now we get into the unusual mods. So, Pavilion was a mod that used to get used a lot or not a lot, I should say a lot, but it wasn't really a lot. This mod was very uncommon back then too, but it had a niche back in Gen 7, Gen 8 I believe. And it would use Sleep Powder, takes Compound Eyes, boosting its accuracy. And along with Sleep Powder, it would sleep something, Quiver Dance, and then proceed to do a ridiculous amount of damage with Hurricane and Bug Buzz. Or Giga Drain if you so choose. I chose to do Bug Buzz because I wanted to make sure I had at least some form of spammable sweeping Bug Stab because I wasn't going to rely on Frostmoth for that. And it would feel really bad if I finally got a Quiver Dance with this thing against the Psychic team and I just don't have Bug Buzz. That would be really sad. So, made sure to use a Hurricane Bug Buzz here. But I do think Giga Drain probably is generally better. I just preferred this for the lighter matchups I was getting. But yeah, full special attack. Usually they make you go Modest instead of Timid, but I decided to go Timid due to the fact that I felt it was very important for it to be at 304. And it needed to be as fast as possible, especially with webs helping it out, so yeah, I just wanted to make sure that it was at least as fast as possible, and it wasn't really asking that much for strength, since you had Quiver Dance already, so I think it was pretty good. Next we have Frostmoth. This one is pretty good as well, or not pretty good, but was also niche when it first came out. I believe this one came out in Gen 7, I'm pretty sure this one came out. I might be wrong, it might be Gen 8. But regardless, whichever gen it came out on, I think it was Gen 8, but this one had the Ice Scales ability, which is basically Fur Coat, but for, well, no, it kind of still is Fur Coat, but for special. It makes you receive half damage, doesn't straight up double your special defense stat, but it's effectively the same thing, outside of a few niche cases. But yeah, I decided to go for a substitute Quiver Dance set to essentially punish anyone who would do a defensive switch, and basically be able to get a free Quiver Dance off on them, or potentially two, depending on how the check they sent in. Now I'm going to do Giga Drain Ice Beam, because as I said before, I wasn't going to rely on it for Bug Buzz, I want my faster mod to do that. So I had Giga Drain Ice Beam, and this little set was actually pretty good, and its special attack stat is also not that bad either, and since you aren't really particularly fast, I opted for a modest set, since you aren't really going to outspeed anything key with a Timid. So yeah, that's it for this one. And finally, we have Heracross. And Heracross is just a standard Sword Stance set. He's our Dark Steel check. I wanted to make sure that he was at least able to take on most Arculodon sets. The Draco Meteor sets he probably still loses to, but the T-Wave, Body Press, Iron Defense ones that this set should ideally be able to beat. Although, depending on how many Iron Defenses it ends up getting off, it might not. But ideally, it still should be able to at least threaten out Arculodon on his own. But yeah, that is it for the team, and now we shall move on to replays. So this first replay is the qualifying replay that I had. It's against a Ghost team, as you can see, and Ghost is a pretty unusual matchup for this team. We do have low kicks to do a lot of things for us, but Ghost is very tricky, especially with that Sylveon Zoroark Pokemon. So yeah, I end up forcing out Sticky Webs. This is already looking bad for me, but thankfully Heracross is fast, and he does have a pretty respectable special defense set. Although he does end up missing, but I don't believe that move would have killed there due to the fact that Heracross should resist it due to being a bug type. But yeah, we end up killing Sinistcha here. There. I opt to not stay in Dingle because I knew that I wouldn't OHKO it with a knockoff, even with the Guts boost. And I would end up taking a big Hex in return. So I opted to just send out Araquanid to do some chip damage to it instead, and then I swapped out the Fortress, expecting him to either Nasty Plot or something else, but that was just not a great play by me, unfortunately. And as I feared, this thing had Colbur Berry, which is why I didn't stay in the first time. But I do end up getting rid of it. And now he sends out his Dragapult. Dragapult is Choice Scarf, so that is something I make sure to note of in the future. I clicked Knock Off on the Spectrier. It turns out to be Specs. I thought it would be Choice Scarf, but then I realized he had Choice Scarf Dragapult, so he probably wouldn't be that. Sends out Fluttermane. Fluttermane uses Power Gem. Power Gem kills my Araquanid. Sends out Pavilion. We managed to get the Sleep Powder off with that 91% accuracy, and we also get a bonus Quiver Dance. We end up missing to Hurricane, and we end up dying to Fluttermane as a result. Very unfortunate. But Lokix does come back, and it turns out that this thing was also Choice Specs. Very annoying, but yes, we end up Sucker Punching Dragapult as well, and then we also end up dealing with the Zoroark as well, thanks to Webs. So yeah, Lokix is just very powerful in this matchup, as you can see from that replay. even without Stealth Rock, we managed to do quite a bit of work against this pretty standard Ghost team, I'd say. Although the sets were a bit unusual, but overall, still normal Ghost team. It has the normal Ghost mons. Only thing is missing that could have probably posed a threat to low kicks was Mimikyu, but I'm not sure if that would have made that big of a difference due to the fact that I have Fortress and other threats as well. So yeah, that's the first replay. This replay is not qualifying, it's against a much lower ranked player, but I decided for content I'll just show it. So he Dragon Dances first, I put in Araquanid and immediately get the webs off. Go into Fortress, expecting him to use a Phantom Force, he does not do that. He keeps using Dragon Dance and I understandably stay in because I know I can use Gyro Ball to do some insane damage back to him. Got that Rocky Helmet chip, got a crit with the Gyro Ball. The crit did matter, I believe, but regardless, I would still do the same play afterwards, or I would still, you know, end up killing the Dragon Ball even without the crit because it would just leave it at Rocky Helmet HP. I end up first impressioning the Flutter Mane here. They die because they can't come in again due to the fact that he has no hazard removal. I knock off the Frost Blast because of webs, and because Low Kicks is faster than it. And I proceed to do that again to his Trevenant, who I believe had a Citrus Berry. Yeah. So we get rid of that as well. Low Kicks, again, is very strong. Cerulege comes out. He's still slower, and because of the Stealth Rock, he can't use his Focus Sash. And Spectrier comes in now. Spectrier actually surprises me, and because this one actually turned out to be Scarf. But in comes Frostmoth with that enormous special defense, and now we Quiver Dance in front of its face, and he realizes he can't win. Now, understandably, Volcarona in that spot probably does the same thing. But the goal of this team was to try and win without the S ranks, and as you can see, it is possible. It is very much possible, even against high ladder or decently high ladder opponents. At least people in the top 500 of the ladder, you can deal with the bug team without the S rank mons. Obviously, the S rank mons will make this a lot easier, but it just goes to show that Pokemon like Frostmoth aren't really that bad. Pavilion didn't really get to do anything because it missed all of its important hurricanes. And especially in the matches that you didn't see, Pavilion missed a lot of hurricanes. It was quite aggravating. Despite it being 91% chance to hit, or around 90-ish% chance to hit, it just never hit. But yeah, that is it for this one. So now we will move on to the Wheel of Names, and we'll see which one we do next. And it's Poison! Remember, I won't be able to use Stall for this, so I have to do something original. Stay tuned, and we'll see what I end up doing.